And you really should know what's happening. And you're not going to know what's happening by watching the news on television or reading the newspaper. So I'm just not going to tell you the truth. I will. And here goes. So over the Thanksgiving holiday, estimates range from 3,000 to 7,500 human beings, foreign nationals, massed at the border, the U.S. border, between Tijuana, which is on the Pacific Ocean, and Mexicali, which is a few hundred miles inland. So a lot of people. Now, how did they get there so fast? Remember, they were walking when it started. Remember, about 3,000 returned to their home countries because they didn't want to continue. Remember all that. All right, so that brought the initial number down about 1,000. Now we have 5 times that. How did they get there? They got there because in Mexico City, an organized group chartered buses and trucks to take them to the border. That took a lot of money, big money. These people have to be fed every day. They have to have water every day. Most of them are living in shelters of some kind. All of that costs money. I estimate the cost at this point, $25 million. Now, the money is coming from our investigation from at least, we don't know 100%, but we know the National Immigration Forum, based in Washington, D.C., is funneling money through 2 Chicago organizations, all right, Centro Sin Fronteras and La Familia Latina Unida, into the Pueblo Sin Fronteras organization, which is on the ground. They're based in Honduras, and they're distributing and chartering and getting the people to the border. This is a very well-financed operation. All right? Okay. That's the basic line. You got the basic line now. Between 3 and 7,500 human beings massed at the border. They got there from Mexico City, most of them, and along the way, thousands of Mexican young men, primarily, young men, all right, joined this so-called migrant caravan. Now, you saw the pictures, and we'll run some videotape now, of a attempted siege of the border, where hundreds, mainly young men, came across and tried to knock the border wall down, and at the same time were throwing projectiles at U.S. authorities. These are young men. You don't see any strollers there, do you? You see any babies there? No. Young men on top of the wall taunting the U.S. authorities. You see any strollers up there? No. Okay. So far, the United States has arrested only 50 people. So most of the migrants have not crossed into the USA because they'll be arrested immediately. Only 50 arrests so far, according to Border Patrol. However, the potential for violence and, a siege of thousands exists. This puts to rest the Jim Acosta accusation to President Trump that this is not an invasion. You remember that? This is an invasion by any definition of the word. If someone tries to break into your home, that's a home invasion. These migrants are trying to break into our country to apply for asylum. Remember, they could have applied for asylum in their own country at the U.S. Consul's office. All right? Mexico offered them asylum. They rejected it. So these people are hell-bent in getting to the United States to apply for asylum. Why? Well, according to the Associated Press, I'm going to quote the Associated Press report, many have been waiting 3 or 4 years for an interview, let alone a decision on their asylum cases. Let me repeat. Many have been waiting 3 or 4 years for an interview, let alone a decision on their asylum cases. While they can obtain work permits during that time, they can't bring relatives to join them. So if you get here on our soil and apply for asylum, you can get a work permit and stay here as long as your case is pending, which, according to the Associated Press, Could be 4 years. And if these thousands of people get in, it'll be 6 years. The U.S. authorities just can't check all this out. We don't have the personnel to do it. Okay, so you see what the intent is. Break the asylum system. Impose open borders. Everybody comes in. This is what the far left wants. And shockingly, the media. Now, on the front page of the New York Post today, not a liberal paper, there's a woman with her 2 little kids with tear gas over her. Because when the migrants started throwing things at the U.S. authorities, remember the wall, you can throw things through it in some places. The U.S. authorities fired tear gas to break these people up who were trying to break in. Front page, all right? And if you watch CNN at 9:10 this morning, as I did, they used about 8 or 9 pictures only of women and children. No young men, as you saw in the video. Women and children suffering, women and children on lines. This is what CNN used. I don't watch MSNBC, but they probably use worse. So there was no attempt to tell the truth about the story. It was, we're bad, America's bad, because we're denying women and children entry to apply for asylum. And President Trump's a racist, and he's horrible, and this is what CNN's agenda is, and all day long. Okay, all I want is the truth. So it comes down to a fairly simple question. Do you and the rest of the American people want an immigration system that has rules? Do you want a border that's secure, that people just can't come through? Now, I've been saying for 10 years that we need new immigration law. Barack Obama had a supermajority in Congress, did not pass new immigration law. Trump controlled the House and the Senate for the first 2 years of his term, not even a vote on a new immigration package. Why? Because he didn't have a supermajority in the Senate, and every single Democratic senator voted against or said they would vote against any kind of new immigration reform. Every one of them.